Hi, so let's talk about something which you've never thought would hear from me. So, as you start to vibrate in a higher frequency, that means when you're focusing on yourself, when you are improving yourself, right? When you're doing your meditations and all, when you're being aware, most importantly, when you're being aware about everything that is happening around, and you're not judging it and you're not labeling it, right? When you're just being aware, you're just being an observer who's observing the observer, and who is observing everything that's happening around in this so-called reality. When you are doing that, then you are raising your frequency. You know the value of silence, and most of the time you remain silent because you know that when you speak, your energy is wasted. When you only speak when it's spoken to. Like, for example, you become a very high vibrational being, but then there's drawbacks too. Now, what I'm about to say is from my personal experience, but it's like if you want to believe it, believe it. If you have the same experience, then it's fine. So I'm trying to tell you is that when you are vibrating higher, there are certain beings and people who will try to pull you down. Right? If I say beings, then you might be like, oh, what kind of beings? Is it evil spirit? In a way, yes and no. So those beings, when you vibrate higher, they don't attack you directly. They attack you because, you see, when you are protecting yourself, like when you're vibrating higher and then you're protecting yourself, they cannot attack you. How could they attack you is through somebody else who you know and who you're close to. They influence them. It might be a lover, it might be a mother, or who you live with. They influence them and they try to lower your vibration. And you know that when you're in a guilt and living in a constant fear, when you're living in fear and when you're guilty about something, when you're having a shame, you have to know that your vibration is going down, because that is the lowest a person can be. Shame, guilt, anger, fear. So they influence your parents, your loved ones, or the person close to you, and they just get into fight with you, and you react to them. You fight with them, and your energy is restored. Or the worst thing they can do is put lust into your mind. That's the worst thing they can do. You have to remember that even if you're on a semen detention, things like that, and even if you have a thought of lust in your mind, and you have to know that those energies are going into that, even if you are holding it, because now how to explain this word. I know semen and other things, they are important, right? They're important, but what you have to know is that it's mental too, right? Like when you ejaculate or when you're having sexual intercourse, it's not always physical, it's mental. Most of the time it's mental, and then it's emotional, and then it's spiritual. So that means even if you're having a spiritual, like you're having lustful thoughts, you're still interacting through different way. It's just not physical. That means you're still draining it. And the real thing is not to put them aside. The real trick here is to be aware of that, is to be aware that, oh, I'm having lustful things, and now you have to be aware of it. Okay, because it's natural. You don't have to see what people do wrong is that we see spiritual things like sexual things and lust as a bad thing, because it's inbuilt. If you're young, 20, 21, 18, 19, it's gonna come to you. You cannot suppress it and call it, oh, I'm a great man. No, I would call that person fool. It's in the nature. It happens to this body. Body goes through changes, and it's all natural. But what you can do is you can be aware of it. That's why celibacy in Sanskrit is called brahmacharya, right? When you translate things into different languages, it just creates a different meaning. So the original language, the Sanskrit, it says brahmacharya. So Brahma means the eternal conscious, which I've been talking about, the infinite consciousness. Anacharya. Brahmacharya means to go yourself, right, to dive into that ocean of infinite. Right? That means to go within yourself from low to high. That means to go within yourself in and out and all. Does not mean to hold on to something and your mind is all messed up holding into something and you call, oh, I'm celibate. I've seen people who've celebrated for a year and all, and they're trained out that they need to drink 4 or 5 coffees even to wake up. Now, what wrong are they doing? Because they're still having the thoughts. And the thing is not to avoid the thoughts. The more you avoid, the more it's going to come and distract you. The thing is to sit down. For example, I'm just giving you a visual representation. If these are lust and these are coming around in my mind, all I can do is observe them. When you don't react, your energy is not wasted. All you can do is observe them. And the best thing is if you can do, just sit quietly and observe without reacting, and just even don't label it, and it fades away, because it does not get its meaning, because it's an energy, and when an energy is not labeled, it does not get its purpose, and then it does not harm you. So you just observe it. You observe, yeah, I'm having a lustful thought, right? So many people are like, oh, the best thing you can do is stay away from those environments, because you'll be like, oh, I can hold on my this and that, and then going into the clubs, and then you're watching those porn and other stuffs. You are gonna do those things if you watch and go. Your mind is gonna be distracted. That's why I would call somebody a fool. Like, for example, there's a house, and in that house there's people suffering from different disease, and you'd be like, oh, I'm wearing a mask, nothing is gonna happen to me. You are gonna get sick. Right? I've called that person a fool. It's better to ignore those places and focus on your inner self than those things. Right, so it's about those things too. So I talked about lust because it's where most people fail. Most people fail in lust because we've seen lust in a different way. We are observing lust. This is all my experience, right? This is my experience. You might have your. What I'm sharing this because I've experienced this. I've felt this, and this has worked on me. And I'm a human being as you. You might be God, then that's fine. But if it works to one human being and my friends too, then it might and it will work to you. You just have to know that it works to you. You just have to have that trust in yourself. Because those are the things. Because due to lust, your relationship becomes negative. When you're having a lustful things, you see your opposite gender as an object. You see a woman or man as an object, as a sexual thing to satisfy your needs, rather than to see them as they are. Rather than seeing them as a being, you see them as an object. Right. And other things. So you have to be aware And I'm not saying these are caused by the other beings, these are natural things, but those beings which I've talked, they are very real. You have to know that they are very real, and then they come sometimes, like when you're too aware, when you're aware that, okay, I'll share this my experience. So what happens is that, right, I do my sadhanas and then I sleep. I protect my energy and then I go to sleep. And sometimes, like, some people be like, oh, you were thinking about something and then that's why those negative things happen to your brain. No, I did not even have like those negative thoughts before I went to sleep, because I go into an intense meditation and then I sadhana and then I go to sleep. And I'm sleeping. It has happened to me multiple times, like when my frequency is increased. I'm sleeping and then this at the middle of the night I'm awake, and then it's not sleep paralysis because I can move my body. The first thing I do is I check is time. if it's a dream, then I cannot see clock. Even if you see clock, it's like, I don't know if you have experienced that or not, but then I saw time. The clock is just before I sleep, and then there's things on my mind, and it's calling my name, and it's telling me, it's just, my mind is just coming with bad things. It's just like, oh, why are you alive? Jump from your window, kill yourself, life is not worth it, and all the bad things which I've felt, it's trying to come. At first I used to be very worried, and I used to worry, like I used to be in fear, what's gonna happen. I used to pray to God, or what's happening. But then as time happened, like this thing used to come like once in a 3 month, like twice. And as this experience started to happen, I observed that they feed on my fear, right? Because we are vibrating beings, and our thoughts are not our thoughts. We're just a medium, like a phone, which I've said. We're just a medium. And when your vibration, your frequency is lowered, you connect into that. Those things can hack into you and make you do that. And if they do that, the task is complete. So many times I've felt left in fear. And after that, I just started to observe it. I was like, do what you have to do, but I'm not playing this bullshit, because I know myself. I know that I will never kill myself. I know that I'm not a person to worry about such things, that somebody left me this time ago and then now she's with someone else, and that thing would create. It's fine. I've accepted everything. You just have to surrender yourself to that. And when you surrender yourself to that, and when you don't react to it, your energy is never going to be wasted. Trust me, when you don't react to something, and when you surrender to that thing, to that absolute, whatever the thing that is, then your energy is not wasted. And through practice and deep meditations and sadhanas, I've come to overcome those things. They still do sometimes, randomly. What you have to be is aware. There's a quote which I like, is that every day you're in a fight with the devil, and when you don't realize this, then you've already lost. You have to know that every day is a war, and you're winning. A friend comes to you and say, oh, let's have an alcohol. Today is Good Friday or whatever, my birthday. So like, oh no, I've married. They're like, man, actually this meditation, what are you going to do? You lost that. That's an influence. Oh, let's have this today. Oh, let's do this today. Oh, nothing's gonna happen. It's just one time. One time kills all progression. Because if you're a person who's disciplined and determined, then you know that, like, how hard you've worked into something, and something happens and you're onto the same point zero and you have to start again. does hurt, but then now you can walk faster because now you've walked that way faster. But I'd say it's a fool to come back again and again into that place. You see, when you know yourself and become aware about these things, you're bound to be in solitude, not lonely. Loneliness is when you accept that I'm alone. In solitude, you're bliss. God's with you, energy is with you, good energy is with you, good vibe is with you. You connect through animals, different animals come to you, connect with you. The nature is with you. You see beauty in everything, and all whatever you see is love, love, and love. That's what happens when you know yourself. And the best thing to stay away from those energies is to cleanse yourself. Whether you're doing fasting, cleansing yourself because of the foods and chemicals, you're detoxing yourself physically, or you're detoxing your mind because you've been so much into social media. You see a girl or boy, you get all tuned up and you do your deed and they're into 0.0, same starting point. You're angry, you're influenced, or you start comparing yourself with somebody. Oh, she's so pretty, I wish I could be that. Oh, this guy is my age and he's earning millions of dollars, I wish I could do that. These are the things which lowers you down, right? Everyone has their own path. Trust me when I say this. It's better to know yourself, be yourself. It's better to be at a peaceful mind than to have all those materialistic things. And to counterattack those beings which I've talked. The best thing you can do is cleanse yourself, because if you're eating bad foods, then you're already lowering your frequency. That's why they use different chemicals in our foods. Fasting. I've talked so many about fasting. And then cleanse your mind, and then cleanse your spirit through prayers. It's good. Whatever God you follow, religion you follow, it's all right as long as you're praying, because you can create your own mantra, but then it's fine, right? And the best thing is silence. When you don't react, just observe it. And that is, my friend, how you raise your frequency. You have to know when those things attack you, because when you know yourself, you know that, okay, this is not me. Why am I getting angry? Because I'm a person who's not supposed to be angry. I am a person, when you know yourself, you know that I'm a person who's not supposed to react into these situations, what's happening to me. You have to know that you're being influenced. You just don't have to be afraid, oh my God, this entity said, no. All you have to do is be aware of it and come into the moment you're aware of it. Why is this happening? The moment you're angry at the peak and ask yourself, why am I angry? Why is this happening? Is the moment you come to your frequency back again. Okay. Now I'm back at that frequency. And whatever the situation happening, you just observe it. And most of the times when somebody's angry and talking to you, when you don't react and you just act calmly, the situation, the environment, it's just different because of your aura. I don't know if you've noticed it or not. When you're yourself, at your frequency, then you get a lot of gazes from people. The places where you go, the environment just shifts differently. People can feel your energy. We all can feel energies. It's just that we are not aware. We're just so into outer worlds, this and that. I want this and that and this, into material world, that we've forgotten to go within ourselves. And there's a big, vast, infinite universe within us. That's whatever you see is just a projection. You are the projector. This is just a projection, light and sound, nothing else. Simulation, right? So that's all, guys. Protect your energies, be aware of it. Even if something bad has happened, you're influenced by something, know your original frequency and come back to it. Just be aware to it, just don't react to it, because it wants your attention, it wants your reaction, it wants you to vibrate, it wants you to suffer. Suffering is good once you know how to suffer, right? That's the problem with most people. We don't know how to suffer. But I'm not flaming the fires of suffering, no. I just want you to be aware, because every day there's a war going on, and that is spiritual war. Whether it's manipulating your mind through music frequencies, or altering your mind through visual representations, or you comparing yourself with somebody else for materialistic thing, for the things that does not even make sense. Are you thinking about your future or things, creating a pothole for yourself which does not even exist, and you stuck in that pothole? Like, I think it was Seneca who says that those who suffer before necessary suffers more than necessary. Something like that. I'm hungry. But I hope you got my point of what I'm trying to say. If this video helps you, please be aware of it. Be aware of yourself and raise your frequency. Even if you work in office, this and that, just don't react. Just speak only when it's spoken to. And most of the time you can be aware of it. Right? You don't have to tell other people how spiritual you are, you meditate, this and that. Because through those people, other beings are listening to you. They cannot read your mind. What they can do is read your words and accents. That's it. I guess I've told what needs to be told. If you understood it, then that's good. If you haven't, then you will, and you might one day. Because if you have led to this video, then it's probably meant for you. And the divine is working through me and through you, right? Because we are all one. So yeah, guys, take care of yourself and do protect your energy and stay safe.